here in Kentucky, and we have that vision together of what we can do, and then we'll work that throughout the week. But like he said, he wants to be the best head coach, and I want to be the best offensive coordinator for him and for the University of Kentucky.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Alan Cutler. Honored and pleased to be with you. Thank you so much for joining me, whether it's live now on the ESPN Sports Lexington app anywhere in the country, or tonight on a podcast on the ESPN Sports Lexington site, or on 1300 AM and 92.5 FM. Tons going on. Nick Roush, really good with football from KSR, will join us at 12:30. Kendrick Haskins, old friend, sports director of Wave TV, will join us at 1, and then Smokey Burgess will join us at 1:30. Not really Smokey. Jimmy, you know baseball, but this is way before your time, so I'm not pushing you. Do you know who Smokey Burgess is?
I don't, but he sounds like a ball player that played in like 1907, if I were to guess.
You know what? And that, if I didn't know, that would be my guess too. So he was a catcher and a pinch hitter. And why am I starting with this? He played from the late 1940s to the 1960s, mid-1960s. That's unusual, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
He was a catcher, and he was big. And then at the end of the career, he could barely get to first base, but he was a great pinch hitter. Matter of fact, he set a record for most pinch hits in the history of baseball. And so Stephen Peak was going to do the show today, and he's got some stuff he's got to do for his gig with KSR. He said, I'm sorry, I can't do it. That's great. He said, I already talked to Brandon Ramsey because they're really good friends. Brandon does a show all the time. He says, Brandon will do it. Oh, great. I love Brandon. All good. So I said to Brandon, you are Smokey Burgess. And he goes, who the hell is that? So Smokey Burgess at that time was considered the best pinch hitter. And then as soon as he got to first base, somebody pinch ran for him. Oftentimes it'd be a pitcher because you didn't want to waste a regular player on it. So he's Smokey Burgess today. I'm going to bet that Brandon looked it up. I will bet he looked it up. And as I've been saying all week, at this point in time, we have no idea who the starting quarterback at the University of Kentucky will be next year. It could be Cutler. It could not be Cutler. I believe that the coaching staff with Sloan, the coaching staff with Stein, I think they're looking to literally upgrade the quarterback position through the portal. And I think they really like and sincerely like Cutter Boley. But I think if they think they can get somebody better, they are going to do it. And I absolutely believe that they are looking. By the same token, too, Cutter's had all kinds of people come at him, like, all these players. I mean, it's just kind of crazy. As a matter of fact, we will play a clip from Jeff Traylor, I hope today, when he talks about how his kids at USTA, it's crazy how people are coming after him. Okay, this is normal business. Free agency, as I keep on saying, is maybe not on Christmas, maybe not on New Year's Day, although I think it'll be New Year's Day this year because the portal opens on January 2nd. So I think the only day basically all year would be Thanksgiving and maybe Christmas. That's it. Kids are getting hit on all the time by agents, by other coaches, all kinds of things. When Mitch Barnhart says we're going to buy by the rules, I have no idea what the hell he's saying. And by the way, let me give you a little taste of what Traylor said. He said it's crazy that there are some teams have between like $25 and $40 million. Now, Jimmy, you're a smart guy. Help me out here. So if you are suggesting that, that $22 million, 22 and a half, whatever the heck it is getting split up, and a bunch of it, not a bunch, about 10% is going to scholarships, and then schools can decide what they're doing, whether they're giving to basketball and football and other sports and that kind of stuff. If you got $26 to $40 million, that ain't all coming from NIL. There's no way in high blank, blank, blank. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
So that means there's going to be cheating. That won't stop. I'm not sure if I'm wrong. Mitch, come at me. Somebody else come at me. But I kind of know more what I'm talking about, but I can't have people go on the record, and I get this. You got $26 to $40 million for your football program. You're cheating. And by the way, I'm calling it normal business. And so initially when this came out, the thought was, this will mean the salaries will go down. And I even suggested that it would. I said it would. And guess what? I was wrong. And I've been saying this. Some of the offers that I know are out there, there is no way on this earth that NIL money will equate to that. Now, will it help? Yes. 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 So cheating is going on all the time. So do I know that Cutler's going to be here? No. This is what I believe. I believe that if they bring in someone and Cutler's going to be the backup, why the hell would he stay? Why would he stay? Because I love Kentucky? Stop it. The kid's got to do what's best for himself. Now, I'm not saying he's Joe Burrow. But had Burrow stayed at Ohio State, would Burrow have gotten a $250 million contract, whatever the heck it was with the Bengals on his last contract? No. No. I think Cutler sincerely loves Kentucky. I think Cutler sincerely needs to do whatever the hell's best for him. And as I've been saying all week, and we'll get on to something else in a second, as I've been saying all week, guess what? Stein has to do what's best for himself. You hired the man, his judgments, his team, whatever he does, he does. He does. And I really believe this. If you're one of the great quarterbacks out there, my agent is calling Stein. I'm serious as a heart attack. And I wonder, I don't know this is a possibility. If they end up bringing somebody in, it wouldn't surprise me if that person comes to Kentucky without the highest offer. In the ballpark, sure. Highest offer, probably not. It's pretty simple. If you believe that Stein and Sloan are that good in teaching quarterbacks, and, one helped the Heisman Trophy winner, he helped a bunch of guys, but Bo Nix, is there a better young quarterback, he and the kid at New England out of the two? Jimmy, you got somebody else at a tender age that's that good besides North Carolina and Oregon? Interesting, the two young quarterbacks at Denver and New England. You got anybody else who'd you put in that boat? Daniels, if he's healthy.
Yeah, if he's healthy, but
yeah.
It's really just two of them right now, yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to say Daniels, if you're healthy, and you and I agree 100%, that's three. That's three. Okay, so let's see. The quarterback coach at Kentucky worked with and improved the Heisman Trophy winner, and the head coach worked with, and I think improved tremendously, Nix. Now, how about you, Jimmy? But if I'm a studly quarterback who hasn't lived up to the potential, right, and are looking to move, maybe partly for money, maybe partly to get better in the right system, and you have two of the top three young quarterbacks in the National Football League today, have I forgotten somebody off the top of my head? I don't think so.
With the guys that they've worked with?
Yeah, but somebody else that you would consider in that on that level.
Yeah, I think those are.
That's off the top of my head.
Yeah, there might be a couple others, but just guys that they've worked with. He was there with Stein was there with Herbert for a year at Oregon. Dylan Gabriel, and just this year, Dante Moore. When he transferred in, he's projected to be number 2 pick in the NFL draft after working with Stein this year.
Nobody in their right mind thought Moore would be a first-round draft choice when he went there. Would you agree?
Yeah, and I mean he had potential, but never that.
Right, and so some of the guys out there, had potential or were deemed as one of the best, if not the best, in high school. So if I'm the agent, what I'm doing, I'm saying, I don't give a crap if I take less money this year, but if this improves my guy and he becomes a top draft choice, guess what? And he stays with me, guess what? I'm going to make a lot more money. So how many times have I said on my show that it's not all about money, ad nauseum? Sometimes it is, and I'm good with that. But the people, it just drives me batty that people say it's always about money. BS. And if you say that, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You just don't. And if that bothers you, turn the dial, because I'm telling you the truth. It's just the way it is. I like Son a lot. I like Stein a lot. Now, they have another issue. They basically an offensive line with Farmer leaving for the NFL. I thought he'd be preseason without knowing anybody else on another roster, which might make this kind of ludicrous, but I don't know how he wouldn't be all SEC next year. First team, second team, third team. He's a strong man, a big man. He's a really good lineman. And one more year, wow. And what I wonder is if he came back, would he be a first round or second round or third round draft choice? I don't know. But I wonder if he could make a lot more money coming back, or is he saying, I'm just done. I want to go to the NFL. Now they got to replace not one, not two, not three, not four, 5 offensive linemen. And I don't know enough about the backup offensive linemen. Are they ready to start? Have no idea. Not going to guess. A simplistic guess would be there's going to be a whole lot of moving and shaking going on in the portal for offensive linemen. And maybe some of the kids who've been backups will be very good offensive linemen. I don't know, nor am I going to guess. I'm not in the business of guessing. I'm just not. I'm not going to do it. Let's go to clip 2 of Sloan. Now, Sloan and Stein have a history of knowing each other, which I think has a lot to do with Sloan coming here. I think there's trust. I think there's friendship. And Sloan knows there are going to be times he says it's Stein's offense. He's calling plays. Will there be times Stein calls plays? I'm sure. I'm absolutely sure. It obviously didn't bother him. He knows what he's getting into, and there's nothing wrong with that. Here's clip number 2, his comment about his boss, Stein.
He's a great human being. I think he's a leader. I think he's a fantastic father and husband. And that's why I was so excited to come join him and help him here at Kentucky and start building this championship program the way we want to do it.
Clip number 4, talking about QB, quarterback play.
So much of quarterback play is responding to adversity, because this is a game of adversity. The quarterback gets a ton of attention, good and bad. A lot of times, too much good and too much bad. But I think dealing with all those things, right? And I think everything has to be working in conjunction and have a plan and be really intentional every single day about what you're doing.
I really like this. He talks about working together with his boss, the head coach, Stein.
Well, we're going to do whatever Will says. I'm here to support Will, right? And however he sees this working the best, and we'll work through some of that. I know he asked me to come over here and to run the offense, and through the vision of what the head coach wants it to be. And I think that's your job as an assistant coach. You want to make your head coach the best head coach he can be and run the program, help him run the program the way he sees fit. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to run his offense, right? And it's going to be our offense together.
Clip number 6, because he has been spending time with Cutter Boley.
Oh, they've been awesome. Yeah, Cutter and I've been around each other every day, and excited to work with him. Love what he did there at the end of the year. I think he's got a great future. So he's been great. I recruited him back when he was in high school. We've had a long-standing relationship. Fantastic kid, tough, right, and really talented. So it's been great.
Now, one of the things we keep on pushing, at least reputation-wise, is how many of the guys that they're bringing on the staff are supposedly really good recruiters, something every school needs, something Kentucky desperately needs. Matt Ponikowski is an interesting case because playing baseball was huge, and he wanted to play baseball and football, and he's, one of the best players in the country in baseball, one of the best players, as you know, in the country in football. And this is an interesting take, clip number 7, on the future possibly quarterback for Kentucky, Matt Ponikowski, excuse me.
He's a true baseball player. It's not like, he's a dual sport that plays football and then kind of like he plays baseball. I mean, I would talk to Matt in recruiting. He'd be, it's 11 o'clock at night. He just got done with 3 games in a day right in Atlanta and some because I recruited Matt a little bit at my last place. So I think he has elite arm talent. I think he's toughness in the pocket. He's really creative, and I think he's a really good athlete in terms of his balance, his mobility, right, and his ability to create power. So I couldn't be more excited about Matt.
I like how he said, Jimmy, his last place. Can you say LSU? Or is that taboo or something like that? Let's go to clip number 8, a little more on Will.
I think Will has a presence to him, right? I don't know that there's like this story or whatever that might be, but I think he has a presence to him. People are drawn to him. He has a really positive attitude. I think that permeates right when he's around. And I think he naturally has an excitement, but yet also there's a natural standard to what he does every single day in everything that he does. And I think that's easy to see from him, and I think he kind of creates that aura. So that's something that you see in people, right? That they're going to be able to lead, right, an organization, right? And these are college football today, right? These are big organizations. You got a lot of players, a lot of coaches, a lot of staff members, right? The Kentucky community. I mean, so there's so many people that are looking to him, and he has that natural presence, right, that it takes, and then he has a great plan.
Well, number 9, more on Stein, and it's a people comment.
I think when you meet people, right, even when they're young, you can see that somebody has the ability to be a leader of men, who has the presence and the detail and the intelligence, right, to adapt and lead something like this, right? And I think you can see that early.
Well, number 10, Sloan talks about when he was a young coach.
I was 26 years old and Skip Holtz hired me at Louisiana Tech, and I had never been to Louisiana. So, and he said, "Hey, you're going to recruit Baton Rouge. What do you think about recruiting Baton Rouge?" I said, "All right, that sounds good to me, right?" And it was really nice. We had like a Crown Vic. You know, it was, the first one I had was light baby blue. The second one was red. Cherry red was nice. And we're all down there, man. We started just developing relationships. So I think recruiting this is a people business. Coaches and mentors and family members, they want to know that you have a plan for their son, on and off the field, to develop them to their fullest potential.
And one of the Stein comments during his opening press conference was, because, Oregon prints money. They had a little sarcasm, but, they have Nike money. They have a ton of money. Everybody knows that. There's no secret when it comes to that. But Stein said, and I kind of went, when he said it, there were times we were winning recruiting battles when we were, the second, third, or fourth highest person or school pushing money at a kid. That it's about relationships. I really like that comment because, I've wondered, like a lot of people, well, it's Oregon. It's easy to recruit. Well, it's easy to recruit at Oregon than it would be at other places, no question about it. But you still have to have that part of the people business. And at times when it's close and money, there are some kids will say, I like you. This is more money. I'm going to take it. It's a combination of things. So 5 new starters you need on the offensive line. 5, here is clip number 11.
Yeah, well, the good thing is, right, that's Will makes more money than me, so he gets to answer those questions. Right? That comes with the chair, but I think there's always a short-term plan, long-term plan, right? Short-term plan is to build a championship roster immediately, right? Long-term plan is what we're going to do. There'll always be a hybrid combination. You got to have young players in your program who you can develop, right? We believe we're the best developers in college football. We believe we're going to create a system that's going to allow us to develop those guys to their fullest potential. So we want to get guys in the program early, and put them through that development program. But then also, right, in college football today, you have to supplement your roster every year, right? Things happen, injuries, guys leave, different stuff like that. So we'll do both. And I think if you can't do both nowadays, right, you're going to struggle. But if you always just rely on the portal forever, right, that snake will bite you too. So
that's an amazing comment. And Jimmy, we're going to chop that out and put the short part of it in the open. That's as strong as anything basically Stein said or Sloan said, that we believe we are the best developers in college football. That is huge. We believe we are the best developers in college football. Huge. And if this place in Lexington, KY becomes quarterback U, because they can every year have a special quarterback, that's how you change the program. Others will follow. Others will follow. Come on, think about it. And this is no slight against Cutler, no slight against anybody last year or the year before. If Tim Couch in his prime was the quarterback last year, if Tim Couch in his prime was the quarterback the year before, right, in the last 2 years, Mark Stoops the coach. Duh. Right? It's as obvious as the nose on my face. And if these guys, with their confidence and cockiness, believe that they are the best developers in college football, I'm telling you, think about it. Mummy, Leach, Franklin, they were great with quarterbacks. Sloan, Stein, they have been great with quarterbacks. Okay? And and by the way, I've said this many times through the years before doing this show, on other radio shows that I did, and also on TV. If you have a great quarterback, when people say you can't win here, I'm saying you better have a great quarterback. You better have a great quarterback. You do. Look, if Ohio State has a mediocre quarterback, even though it's usually a quarterback ranked so highly, they can still win, but they're probably not going to win the national championship. Probably not. Probably not, but they can win a ton of games. They can win a ton of games. For Kentucky, they're not Ohio State. And if these two men are that good and they stay together, because you would think Sloan wants to be a head coach, he's probably going to be a head coach, so that'll happen. But then again, do you trust that Stein will bring in another Sloan? Interesting. But if these two guys, when Sloan says we believe we are the best at developing talent, that's incredulous. And when offensive linemen, if they can sell the fact, and they're going to have to do it this year, probably more than other years, you need to start 5 new offensive linemen, whether it's portal or current players on the team. And offensive linemen are more apt to come to a place like Kentucky if they think they're going to be behind in front of, a special quarterback. It's really simple. Clip number 12, clip number 12, clip number 12, and you might think it's better than clip number 11. Here it is.
We're coming here to compete for championships, right? And that was the I know what this program can do. I've seen this program. I've been in this league, and I know what Coach Stein can do. And the combination of the two, I couldn't be more fired up. A lot of friends that I have in the business who have worked here at Kentucky and lived in Lexington rant and raved about this place. I've gotten so many texts from people who have worked here in the past about just how much I'm going to love Lexington, how much I'm going to love working at the University of Kentucky.
Coming here to win championships. Okay. Show me, baby. Show me. And then, when he said this, I chuckled. And I'm not being disrespectful to Sloan. But everybody is so tired of hearing. Remember, Stoops used to say, his mother used to say, God rest her soul, that she would say, why don't you throw the ball to the tight ends? So you had, Vince, who was here, hyped up the tight ends a gazillion times, and I'm not saying this because he's not here, because I said it when he was here. Oh, this guy's great, and they never threw the ball to the tight ends. Well, basically never. Okay, so look, you got to re-recruit your kids. There's no question about it. So here's a comment. And look, this kid, there's no question, has NFL potential. We're talking about tight end Willie Rodriguez.
Well, he's a good player. He's a really good player, right? Vision is we're going to throw him the ball. Okay? And Willie knows that. I've shown him many ways. Willie's a really good talent. He's a really good talent. And I think when you look at both Coach Stein's offense at Oregon and what we did at LSU, the tight end's been a focal point of the offense in the passing game. And I think, you can just create really good matchups with tight ends. And this is a matchup league.
It is a matchup league. A lot of leagues are, by the way. But the SEC with the athletes is a matchup league. We're going to flip very quickly to basketball. We're going to play a Pitino soundbite from last night. St. John's beat DePaul 79-66. DePaul, who's been terrible, it seems like forever, is 8-4 this year. And it's interesting, and I'm baffled by this. And I've mentioned this before, that Pitino's got a bunch of kids who don't shoot threes. Okay, they're not good at it. Pitino, again, having a team, not great at shooting threes, and Kentucky is not great at shooting threes. And Pitino's defense is getting better, and Pope's defense is getting better. It's pretty interesting. I'm shocked that Pitino doesn't have better shooting folks for threes. And Pitino's had some problem with the point guard position. It's really, really interesting. So Pitino first talks about last night's game, and then he goes on to mention the school which he used to call Camelot, Kentucky.
It's collectively 5 guys playing the ball and rotating properly. Dylan, I felt bad for him at the end of the game. He was getting taken out of the game. His leg was bothering him. He just kept gutting it out. So defense is getting better. The offense, I think, will improve each game out. But we've got a tough one coming up with school that you guys have never heard of. Yeah, we've heard of Kentucky.
Let's talk about that. On Saturday, you face your captain and Mark Pope of the Untouchables, of the national champions. What kind of an opportunity do you view that as, and just how excited are you to meet up with one of your favorites?
Well, we're all going to go to dinner, some of the ex-players and Mark and me, the night before. We're not going to talk about the game. We're going to talk about the 96 championship team and the great memories we've had. But, look, I love the University of Kentucky. I love certainly the players I've coached there. I was there for 8 years, and I always called it Camelot because I never had a bad day there. You always have a bad day, but I never did. So it's going to be great to see the guys. Kentucky's an improving team. They got a lot of talent. They're very well coached. We'll be ready, but I know they'll be ready.
Good comment by Pitino, and Pope had his press conference at 10 a.m., which Matthew and Jimmy played live. And he said the obvious, he loves Pitino. There's no question Pitino loves Pope. Everybody knows Pope was his captain, all that kind of thing. I thought it was interesting, though, that he calls him coach. He doesn't call him Pitino. He says, Coach called me after the Michigan State game and said, get your act together. I loved it. And by the way, can I see Pitino doing it? Yes. He calls his guys. They call him, but he calls his guys. And he probably gave him a pretty good pep talk. And I'm going to guess that he made some suggestions. Guess. Do I know that for sure? No. Would I bet a cup of coffee on it? Yeah. Now, I kind of like how Pope said this, that, the team needs to have more of belief in what they are doing. And he said we're making progress. And I like that. Not saying, hey, we're going to be the greatest this, the greatest that, whatever. And if what I hear is true from a deep throat, that they're showing more energy in practice. And I got to tell you, it's pretty simple. If the energy we saw against Indiana is the energy against St. John's, this thing is turned. That doesn't mean they won every game, okay? But they have to have that kind of energy, and their energy sucked. It did. We talked about it ad nauseum. It was disappointing, very, very, very disappointing. And Pope is basically saying we're going to play smash mouth basketball, ugly, gruesome. And he says we don't do it forever, but we got to do it now. And I'm saying why not do it forever and then have a better offense? That's the part about Mark I disagree with. Yeah, play smash mouth basketball on defense and play really good offense. So that part, when he said that, I'm going, what? You're starting to get one side of the ball. Yeah, play smash mouth basketball on D all the time, forever. And he said, not forever. I'm sorry, Mark, couldn't disagree with you more. Couldn't disagree with you more. And so basically the way, it's a short thing, basically the way Kentucky played the other day was kind of like Big East basketball. That's what it was. It's kind of like Big East basketball. Nick Rouse is in the hopper. Nick, you coming up next? Hey, don't forget, this holiday season, give the gift of adventure with Quantrell Subaru right now during the 2025 Subaru Share the Love event. That's right, the Share the Love event. Subaru will donate $250 to one of 5 amazing nonprofits, including the Hope Center. They do a wonderful job there. And Quantrell Subaru stepping up in a big way. Quantrell Subaru is doubling that. Quantrell Subaru will donate $550 for every new Subaru, every new Subaru purchased, every new Subaru leased through January 2nd. Be part of the community and help make a difference during the 2025 Share the Love event at Quantrell Subaru. Learn more at QuantrellSubaru.com. Don't forget, best place to get Cadillacs, best place to get Volvos. Talk about it every day. We have the XC60, the Volvo hybrid, and we love it. It's a people organization. They've been taking care of people here for decades. I trust them. I've never gotten 3 cars from a dealership before. We have for over a decade. The Quantrell family of dealership, Subaru, Cadillac, Volvo. Nick Rouse coming up next. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
My name is Terry Schultz, CEO for the Rutherford County Area Habitat for Humanity. Republic Bank has really been a game changer. They have invested not only financially, but time to really listen so that we can move our mission forward. What I like about Republic Bank is they've come in asking, what are your needs? And I don't know that you get that any other place.
That's Terry's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. This holiday season, give the gift of adventure with Quantrell Subaru. Right now, the 2025 Subaru Share the Love event. Subaru will donate $250 to one of 5 amazing nonprofits, including the Hope Center. And Quantrell Subaru is stepping up in a big way, more than doubling that, donating a total of $550 for every new Subaru purchased or leased now through January 2nd. Be part of the community and help make a difference through the 2025 Share the Love event at Quantrell Subaru. Learn more at QuantrellSubaru.com.
Ho, ho, ho.
What are you doing, Uncle Rick?
Looking at these twinkle lights, 250 strands of lights, 100 individual bulbs per strand, for a grand total of 25,000 twinkle lights.
Well, it looks like you're not quite ready for the holidays yet. But here at Clark's Pop and Shop, we are. We have 5-hour energy shots, buy 2, get 1 free, and Mike and Ike or Hot Tamales Theater Box Candy, 2 for $2.
Maybe I should wrap up my lights so I can get over to Clark's Pop and Shop.
Uncle Rick, the little lights aren't blinking.
I know, Carl. I know.
Happy holidays from the Clark family.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Before I introduce a super smart football guy, I want to make a comment, and then we're going to go into Nick Roush, who I appreciate his time tremendously. Want to correct something. A couple days ago, Adam Luckett had said that this was Cutter's team, and for a couple days I'm saying it's not Cutter's team. It's BS. It's not true. It might become Cutter's team, but right now the Cutter's not signed, and UK is looking, and they might bring in someone who would be above Cutter, so he might be a backup. They might not bring in somebody. Cutter could be the starter. Stein's got to do what Stein's got to do for himself, and Cutter's got to do what's best for himself. And I got to tell you, nobody's asking me, but if he's going to be a backup here, he's out of his freaking mind to stay here as much as he loves Kentucky. Kid's got to play. He's got to play. So there is no guarantee that Cutter is a starter, period. It is not Cutter's team. Adam, you're wrong on that. Matt, you made a mistake today. You didn't listen to my show yesterday. You should listen. Does that sound too tough? I don't give a crap. I'm not being nasty. So this is what I understand. And if I'm wrong, I will apologize to the public. I will apologize on my show. I'll apologize to Matt. Matt, you should listen to my show. You would learn a lot more. Okay, here's the deal now. You can sign with JMI. Let me repeat. You can sign with JMI, and then let's say Nick Roush has a great car dealership, and Nick and your dad are really good friends, or your mom, and so Nick comes straight to you and says, "Hey, we'll give you 10 grand for da 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 da," and you can do the deal on the side. So you can use JMI, and you can do a deal on your own. And if I'm wrong, if my deep throats have told me wrong, I know what I understood, then I will humbly apologize. And what's happened is I think this thing has grown and developed and stuff like that. And as I said the other day, pretty simple, there's some changes that have gone on. And agents have caused Kentucky and JMI to make some changes. Because guess what? They're agents. And you're going to have to deal with them. And if you're going to shut them out, they're going to say, hell with you, I'll take my kids somewhere else. So I just want to throw that out there. I don't want to stick Nick with that because KSR, they do a great job. I've said it a million times. And Nick, you do a hell of a job. I didn't want to put you in the middle of that, Nick. Nick, how are you? What's going on? And on a scale of 1 to 10, brother, tell me how excited you are. I got to throw a question at you. Then I'm going to actually shut my mic off because I see of talking too much. I don't know if you knew.
Not you, Alan.
No, certainly not. So in the old days with Franklin, Leach, and Mummy, this was a great place for quarterbacks. This is now the best place since then and maybe better. Time will tell with that. I'm not ready to say better. It could be the best ever at Kentucky. We shall see. But you got Sloan and Stein who have done a great job developing quarterbacks. This is now, I believe, a destiny for quarterbacks. And if you have great quarterbacks, that's the only way this team is ever going to start winning 9 and 10 games in a row. And I've said that since before my hair was pitch black. On that note, please respond and tell me I should go jump in a lake or whatever the hell you want, Nick, because I appreciate your time and your thoughts.
Well, I think the most remarkable thing that Mark Stoops did during his tenure was that he was able to win 9, 10 games a couple of times in a 4-year span without quarterbacks. I mean, I know Will Levis had his moments. He was pretty good in that 2021 season. Terry Wilson was serviceable enough with a great defense. And the Lynn Bowden experiment was an outstanding coaching job, but they haven't had a 3,000-yard passer since 2010, Mike Hartline. That's not a very high bar in the sport of college football to get over, right? Like Stein had 2 4,000-yard passers in the last 4 years. Like that's where Kentucky has been versus where they're going to go. It's going to take leaps and bounds, huge steps forward. I'm fascinated how quickly they can get there because, like you said, Stein and Sloan both have outstanding pedigrees when it comes to developing passers. 2 guys went to the Heisman Trophy ceremony under Stein in Oregon, and then when Sloan was the quarterbacks coach at LSU, Jaden Daniels won the whole thing. And in my mind, it should be Cutter Boley. He should I don't, Alan. Can I get an old man thing real quick? Just a little bit of old man rant. Like, can I just be an old man for a second?
You want to mimic me? I thought you were smarter than that, Nick.
Yeah. It's just quarterback is the most important position, but there is some level of prima donna to them. I mean, you see what's happening in the portal this week. The portal isn't open for 2 weeks, mind you. It's not open until January 2nd, but there's already, I don't know, a dozen names that that you've heard of, from Brendan Sorsby at Cincinnati, DJ Lagway at Florida. Hell, even Bo Perbula today was like, I'm going to leave Missouri. I'm going to go somewhere else. The constant movement just drives me insane. And that is, like, I'm not an advisor to Cutter Boley by any stretch of the matter, but, like, this should be a no-brainer for him. Everything I've heard makes it sound like he is going to ultimately go out and say that I'm going to stay at Kentucky. But, Alan, if I list all of the quarterbacks that are going into the portal, where is Cutter Boley in that pecking order? I mean, yes, he had better QBR years than Lagway. Or like, there are statistically ways you can sell yourself as that he is better than X, Y, and Z in this portal. But there's going to be bigger names that fetch high prices. I am just of the belief that the best you can get, like the most growth you have, is learning from trials and tribulations and staying put, not quitting and going somewhere else. And I don't know why you would want to leave to not give this a chance with Will Stein and co. Now, maybe, and then we can get to this next, maybe you're worried about the pieces around him, that they're not going to have enough pieces around him. But just from the outside looking in, like, hell yeah, why wouldn't, like, part of the reason they went and got a guy like Will Stein was for you. So Cutter should stay. I still think he will. But he should stay. There's no doubt in my mind.
Am I allowed to talk now?
Yes, you can.
Did you get your thoughts out? Because I want to make sure you got your thoughts out. You know I'm being
close. Yeah. Oh, I got them all out. I just had to one-up you a little with the longer rant. Yeah.
Congratulations. Mazel tov. You did. Okay, there's only a little slight thing I'm going to disagree with, and I think you're going to say I'm right. The pressure's on now for Nick Rouse, the great Nick Rouse, to say I'm right. Ooh, okay. So do I believe Cutter wants to stay? Absolutely. Let me repeat. I've said this so many times. He absolutely wants to stay. But come on, Nick, you're a smart dude. If one of these big names transfers to Kentucky, he ain't coming. I'm using bad grammar on purpose.
Yep.
Coming to be Cutter's backup. It's just like the kid who's the freshman point guard at Lewis, starting point guard at Villanova.
Yeah, Aberdeen. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Second.
Not Aberdeen. Caden Lewis. Yeah. There we go.
Second. Lowe said he was coming. I immediately said he ain't coming. He wasn't going to come here if he wasn't going to start. I knew it. Trust me, I knew it. They knew it. Now, either Pope at that moment was fooled that he didn't think he wouldn't come, or he said, you know what? I like Lowe better. If the kid doesn't want to stay, we'd love for him to stay, but he will move on. It's a little similar here now. So hang on.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to tell you is this. It's simple. Cutter wants to be the man. But come on, Nick, you will instantly know, I will instantly know, the public will instantly know, if one of the elite quarterbacks transfers to Kentucky, they ain't coming here to be Cutter's backup. At that moment, Cutler will know he has to leave. Cutler wants to be here. And if they bring in somebody, let's say, who's a senior, who says, I'll be Cutler's backup, Cutler would love it to be here. And they might not bring in anybody. I'll go one step further. They might not bring in anybody to be better than Cutler because maybe they can't get it, or maybe they change their mind. I am telling you, though, Cutler wants to be here. But don't you think, now you respond this way.
Yeah.
Don't you think he'd be stupid, and I mean this, stupid to stay, if he knows he's going to be the backup?
Yes, but I think the one part in this that, like, you're correct, but I think he'll
play like the great Nick Rouse
with the caveat. So you are correct that he will not stay to be a backup, but I think he will know before the portal opens based on what the offer is that Kentucky will give him in terms of dollar figure.
Stop. That's a great comment.
Yeah,
that's a great comment. See, I will give you kudos back.
Yeah, there you go.
And I said this yesterday. Basically, I'm sorry. By the way, I know no numbers. I'm just throwing garbage out there for a reason. If all of a sudden they offer Cutler Boley $500,000, he knows it's not to be the starter.
Exactly.
If they offer Cutler Boley $2 million, they ain't bringing somebody in to pay $2 million. So
yes,
there's
correct.
And I've said that, but I'm so glad and grateful that you said the same thing.
Yeah, because like they're not stupid, right? And I think the part that, like, I can understand why Boley and his family and his camp might be concerned about it, because that's what happened last year, right? Like Stoops brought in another guy and they understood it, but they were told, like, yeah, we'll still give Cutler a chance to compete with him. But then Cutler never really got a chance to compete for the starting job until Calzada stunk and then got hurt. And then it was like, okay, now we have to play Cutler. Go do your thing. My contention with, like, the sort of, if you're worried about them bringing in anybody, Mark Stoops coached here for 13 years. In 3 of those seasons, they started the same quarterback in every single game. The other 10, they had multiple starting quarterbacks. You have to have somebody else ready in the SEC. And you know who else is in that quarterback room right now? A guy who just finished his true freshman season, and then another guy who's about to play an All-American high school baseball season in high school at Cincinnati Moeller, Matt Ponatoski. So Kentucky, if they are to lock up Cutler Boley, they're probably going to have to get somebody else. Now, are they going to spend a lot of money on a guy? No, because you know what? They got to get 5 offensive linemen starting. Right, like that I think, like, if Boley was to say, I don't know if I can trust these guys to get 5 new starting offensive linemen, like, it's been good, but I don't think the budget's there to be able to build a roster good enough for me to succeed, so I want to go somewhere else. I would even understand that line of thinking too. But the fact of the matter is, if they're going to pay him, good money, then there's no reason he should worry about it. It's going to be Cutler Boley's team, and I think he can perform well in this system. He's the exact kind of quarterback that Stein described as what he likes. He's accurate with the football. He's tough. He's got some what to him, right? And he can maneuver well around the pocket. But I would like for there to be some clarity in the near future, though, Mr. Cutler, because that is in the New World Order, I think it's hard to have it's hard to balance the budget if you've got to pay top dollar for offensive linemen and a quarterback. Like, I think it's hard to do both at the same time. They got to get the offensive line. So go ahead, retain your quarterback, and then get into the portal, rebuild that offensive line, maybe find another receiver for him after you lock up some receivers, and then I think this can be a pretty darn good offense.
Okay, so you want Cutler, and I do too, but I don't count. You don't count either.
Correct.
And so you hired Stein, let him do his thing. And if Stein believes he can bring in a better quarterback, that's what he needs to do. As Cutler needs to do what's best for himself. And when you're looking for clarity, one of the things that I like is that there is no clarity. Now, would I like clarity? Yes, let's not get stupid here.
Right.
But in other words, there's less BS. For example, one of the things I chomped on Stoops many times, Jimmy can tell you many, many, many times, when they said Cutler was getting a fair chance is the biggest BS in the world. You're a football guy. Now, Calzada wasn't coming to be the backup. The only way you can, I don't give a crap what anybody says. I don't care if you've coached football for 40 years. If you tell me you disagree with, I'm going to stick my tongue out and give you a raspberry. If you have a real quarterback competition, then each of the two quarterbacks have to get half the snaps with the first team, half the snaps with the second team.
Mm-hmm.
Once I found out that Cutter wasn't taking any snaps with the first team, I ripped Stoops. I said it was disingenuous. They were trying to keep him happy. Do you think Cutter's not smart enough to know if he's taking to the second team? Do you think Cutter's dad is not smart enough to know? You think, Cutter's high school coach is not smart enough to know that? So why would you lie to the public? And why would you think that Cutter's not smart enough to know that? That's one of the worst things that Stoops did. It's disingenuous. So therefore, there was no quarterback competition. Yeah. He was lied to.
It was. We read right through it too. Like everybody knew it because it's like, why is Stoops saying this right now, the week before the season starts? But part of it, the other part of it too, the one reality of it is that he was playing better than Calzada, and so Stoops is like, well, the least I got to do is say nice things about Cutter publicly because he's forcing me to. Well, you know what? Maybe he should have forced him to play, right? Like that's one of Stoops's last big mistakes as the head coach is not just playing the best players, and that was one thing I liked from Stein's intro. Was he basically said like, we're not going to do first team, second team in spring practice. We're going to do blue team versus white team, and we're going to compete, right? Like because that's how you get better at football. And then the cream rises to the crop. What is it? The cream rises to the top. The creme de la creme. Superfluous, Alan. I remember that from our last conversation.
Tell me that word again.
Superfluous.
You got your own dictionary, Nick. I do too, but that's a really good one. That bothered me about Stoops. Not the number one thing, but it was one of the top things because it made me trust him less. Because first of all, it's the wrong thing to say, and second of all, I don't want to make this into Stoops, but why would you think you can fool the public? And I think sometimes coaches at times on their high horses just say something, and that leads me to believe anytime a coach does that, he thinks we're stupid. I'm seriously, how else can it be? How else can it be? So it was wrong. Now, do you think?
What I like to say, Alan, is I may be dumb, but I ain't stupid. You like that one?
I do.
I came up with it when I was a teenager. I thought it was really clever. I don't think it's very clever, but I digress.
Nick, I heard that in New York growing up.
Yeah, no. This is Nick Roush original. No,
Nick, I heard it in New York before you were born.
Nick, agree to disagree.
Look at me. Do you think I'm lying to you right now?
Agree to disagree, Alan.
You calling me a liar?
You talking to me?
Yeah, you're talking to me. You're talking to me. Okay. So the truth is, I have no idea. I imagine you have no idea about who will be the starting quarterback at this particular point in time. Would you agree?
I would, if I was making odds, I would say I would make Cutter Boley the odds-on favorite. I would much better chance than not. 70% chance he's the starting quarterback. It's all trending that way, but it is the reason why I got to use a bunch of words and like try to put some fluff around it out is because in the world of the awful world of agents and middlemen and transfer portal is that like things really can change quickly. And that's kind of annoying to deal with. Frankly, Alan, I get annoyed by it. I don't know how these coaches deal with it. Like I kind of get why a guy like Stoops was annoyed towards the end of his tenure. That job would suck. I've had people ask me, if you could be a coach, which one you would be? There's not enough money in the world for me to coach college kids right now. Because they would just piss me off, for the lack of a better term, right? Like this because like the game you have to play with them now is so silly. And I don't know if this is the case with Quaintance, but we dealt with it with Sharp and with injuries and like, it's like, no, you either are healthy enough to play or you're not. Like there's no sort of, what is this game? And you got to make parents happy and all that crap. Like that would drive me nuts. So that's my long way of saying is that like, I'm glad that it's not my job to convince them to sign on the dotted line and get it done because there's a lot more involved than what it used to be, and it can change instantly. Because
it sure can.
Yeah.
But in the old days too, I got to tell you, the night before oftentimes, not tons of times, but oftentimes a kid would change his mind in recruiting before all this NIL stuff. Not that I would suggest that money ever changed hand in the good old days. I would never.
What?
That. By the way, am I allowed to give, since it's my show, the odds? You said it was 70-30, Cutter? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I say it's at best, being positive, at best it's 50-50.
Okay. Interesting.
At best.
Can I share a quick story that you might like, Alan?
Please. Oh, please.
So I forget.
I was going to say 1090, but you changed. No, you didn't change my mind. Go ahead.
I forget the exact terminology that they would use. I don't think it was walked in or sit in, but one of those old school recruiting tactics my father may or may not have been a part of, because back in the 70s, there was a kid in Lexington. He was pretty good at basketball. You might know him. Jack Givens. Pretty good, and Joe B. Hall wanted him. Somebody else was trying to pry him away at the 11th hour, and they were having a big fundraiser deal at the Campbell House during Jack's visit. And so my father was one of many, he was a part of the group that was assigned to go into a room with Jack Givens and not let him leave until he signed. So, like, I don't know. And you know what? I could be mixing up Jack and getting all the details. Like, I've heard this story a bunch of times, but I get the details wrong. But that was an old tactic back in the day. It's basically, all right, well, we're gonna show you around here. Let's show you this room back here at this hotel, and then you're just kind of stuck in there with the college guys, and you aren't leaving until you sign.
But two things really quick. Tell me who your dad was, and I got a same exact story for you. That's a great story, and that stuff did go on.
He was just in a fraternity and knew somebody, he was just a frat guy.
Dad was a coach or that kind of stuff. But
no.
He had to have money if they said stay in the room, right?
No, not at all. He just knew a guy. I think he might have been the bartender at the Campbell House, and they needed an extra guy to make sure everybody's thirsts were quenched, right?
I know you know who Tommy Limbaugh is, but that's before your time, right?
That is before my time.
Okay,
yes.
So he was the recruiting coordinator, and Tommy and I were close. And he calls me up one night when I'm anchoring. It's about 11 o'clock. He says, "What are you doing?" "Tommy, I'm going on the air in about 20 minutes. Can you do me a favor?" If I can it be after the sports?" "Yeah." He said, "Man, I need some coffee." "Okay." He said, "Would you give me a coffee and something to eat?" I said, "The only thing open this lays me out." "Great. Just bring me some stuff." "Okay, why?" "I'll explain when I get here." So he left the gate open where you would go into the offices, and then the door was open for UK football. And I go in there, he's on the phone, and he goes, "I'm on hold." He spent the whole night on the phone with Mo Williams. He wouldn't hang up the phone because he said, "If I hang up the phone,
somebody else can call.
I'm afraid we're going to lose him." To have a seat and whatever, and he looked exhausted. And I talked to him the next day, and Mo came here. And so, I brought him 2-3 coffees and burgers. I don't know how first.
What a guy.
And a bunch of fried chicken, this whole thing, whatever. And so he was doing it's the same thing what your dad was part of. It's kind of
I may be fudging a little bit of the story, but
I'm not fudging this. I was part of it.
As my old Catholic priest used to tell me, shout out Father Dismas, R.I.P., never let the truth get in the way of a good story. So.
You are amazing. Scale of 1 to 10. Now that you see that most of the staff, the foundation staff, and to me, as much as I like Stein, he's still got to prove it to us. I'm not changing that. Scale of 1 to 10 from what you see of what Stein has gathered here, without seeing the production yet. What's the number you give? Scale out of 1 out of 10. KSR's Nick Roush, who does a wonderful job, and I could smell the wood burning as he's thinking of a number. I've stalled enough, so give me a number.
I would put it at a 8.1. And the reason why I like this is because it kind of fits what you want from this guy. Mitch Barnhart described him as a risk taker. But a calculated risk taker. And I think that fits what he's trying to accomplish here. Because, I think the thing I wanted to see most was some counterbalance when it came to, you've got a young head coach. You've got to have some old heads in there to balance it out. Like, you got to have some in there. I would have liked if they would have been able to steal the Florida running backs coach. They weren't able to get him. He ends up at Texas. Texas wanted him real bad. But Jay Bateman, defense coordinator, got hired by Jeff Monken, spent years at Army. The power conference ranks haven't treated him as kindly. I think some of that is, the setting and all. But this is a guy who's been an outstanding recruiter. He's 50 plus, he's like 55 years old. So there's a good counterbalance in there to a lot of young coaches who, like, this is, it's risky, but they're also getting guys who are ascending, and you're giving them their first big opportunity. They announced Cutler Leftwich today as their offensive line coach. This guy might be the next great thing in offensive line coaches, Alan. Like, when you look at the pedigree, I mean, his brother is a 30-some-odd-year-old offensive coordinator at Texas who's a Broyles nominee. So he comes from a coaching family that's been lights out. Oregon wanted, like, he was an assistant offensive line coach at Oregon, leaves, does great at North Texas, but Oregon's like, dude, we need to get you back. We need you back here. We want you back here. They bring him back. So, like, there's a lot I like about him. Tony Washington Jr., he's a pass rush guy who was at Ohio State, was in a similar role. So, like, I really like that they're taking chances on guys who could become stars. Their coordinators were excellent recruiters. And, if you're going to feed the studs, you got to get studs. So there's a lot to like about this staff, even though there are holes to be poked in it, right? I know Texas A&M fans, they like to poke at Jay Bateman, the same with LSU fans and Joe Sloan, right? They're not perfect, but you know what? They have SEC experience as coordinators. You don't get that much at Kentucky, Allen, right? You're not going to be able to take other SEC coordinators. These are guys with experience in the league, a league that Sloan or Stein is not familiar with. So I think that's overall a plus. He's surrounding himself by people who've been in this league, who have a lot to prove, and have proven that they can get talent.
Nick Roush, who says it's a 70% chance that Cutter Poley is the man. I say it's 50-50. We shall see. I got 30 seconds. Anything about volleyball or something else that's on your cranium that you just need a boom, pop out?
I'm very excited, and I think Kentucky can win this national championship. I think beating Pitt would be a great sort of turnaround story. They got swept by the Panthers earlier this year. I just love the story that Craig Skinner and Kelly Sheffield coached JV volleyball together in Muncie, Indiana 35 years ago. I mean, and then now they're coaching against each other in the Final Four. That's just, imagine your JV coaches coaching against each other in the Final Four. That just, say that out loud, think it out loud, imagine it. That's a reality right now. That's crazy. So shout out to those guys for climbing the mountaintop, a true underdog story. Hopefully the Cats get it done in Kansas City.
Last one, got 20 seconds. Yes or no? I say yes. I think whether they win or lose against Patino, as I've been saying, if they lose 69-66, but they play with the toughness we saw against Indiana, I'm good with it because then they're going to win a lot of games. Will the toughness continue? I believe it will. I believe it will. What say you in 30 seconds?
I believe it will too, and that's going to make for an ugly game, right? Rick Pitino, he loves getting in these rock fights. I think it's going to be an old school kind of Cal versus Rick rock fight. What I worry about is that Pope pulls a Rick and sort of gets in his own head too much going against his former coach. I really worry about that, and I worry that Jaden Quains won't play. If Jaden Quains is healthy enough to play. It's basketball. That's what you're here to do. Go play.
But if he plays, he's going to play 10 minutes.
Yeah, but you know what? He could be awesome those 10 minutes. 3 blocks, 6 boards. That could be all the difference in the world against a physical St. John's team.
No, wait a second. Nick, you're getting goofy on me. You think this kid in 10 minutes could get 6 rebounds and 3 blocks?
Yeah. That's what he's here to do.
3 blocks in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
On a 40-minute game, that's 12 blocks.
NBA draft pick, future NBA draft pick. Great shot blocker.
No. If he's healthy, totally healthy by the end of the year, he's a top 5 pick. Everybody knows that. Doesn't take a genius on your part or my part. Nick, 3 block shots in 10 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, he's going to be Spider-Man out there. Grabbing balls out of the air.
You're great, Nick. God bless you.
Glad I could make you laugh today.
If I don't talk to you, Merry Christmas to you and yours. Count your blessings. You got a ton of blessings in your house, and that was a great story about Goose. Matter of fact, next time I talk to Goose, I'm going to ask him. And you know what? If it's true, which I'm sure it is, I'm not questioning you. But Goose So cool. He'll say, "Yeah, they did that to me, and nobody brought me a Coke or a burger." that would be like Goose, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, man, bless you, brother. Count your blessings. You're a great guest. I'm honored that you join us every now and then.
Always a pleasure, Alan. Hope you have a happy holidays, and we'll see you soon.
Great. That was great. Jimmy, that was great stuff. That was really good. His dad was part of that. How cool is that?
A vital part, it sounds like.
Yes. Yes. I'm going to text Goose after the show. I have to text Goose after the show. And I can see, knowing Goose, he'll just laugh. Yeah. But where was my steak? Kendrick Haskins coming up next. Want to talk about my friend Terry Page. Terry Page, a great licensed massage therapist. Text her or call her, but text with her usually works better to get an appointment, 859-373-0578, 859-373-0578. Please use my name. She's a special healer. Terry Page. Kendrick Haskins coming up next. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Ho, ho, ho.
What are you doing, Uncle Rick?
Looking at these twinkle lots, 250 strands of lots, 100 individual bulbs per strand, for a grand total of 25,000 twinkle lots.
Well, it looks like you're not quite ready for the holidays yet, but here at Clark's Pep & Shop, we are. We have M&M, Milky Way, Snickers, or Twix share-size candy bars, 2 for $4.50, or Uncle Rick's potato chips, 8-ounce bags, 2 for $6.
Maybe I should wrap up my lots so I can get over to Clark's Pep & Shop.
Uncle Rick, the little lights aren't blinking.
I know, Carl. I know.
Happy holidays from the Clark family.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. This holiday season, give the gift of adventure with Quattrell Subaru. Right now, the 2025 Subaru Share the Love event. Subaru will donate $250 to one of 5 amazing nonprofits, including the Hope Center. And Quantrell Subaru is stepping up in a big way, more than doubling that, donating a total of $550 for every new Subaru purchased or leased now through January 2nd. Be part of the community and help make a difference through the 2025 Share the Love event at Quantrell Subaru. Learn more at QuantrellSubaru.com.
I'm Kathy Bingaman. Over the holiday, there was an attempted fraud attack. My personal banker, Mary Rose, and I networked together, and the first thing that I thought of was I have to text her. And it was just within the next few minutes, there was an entire team that came together collectively. And that's just not the type of service that you typically get from your bank.
That's Kathy's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
W223CV Lexington. ESPN Sports Radio 1392.5. WLXG Lexington. And LM Communications Broadcasting Station. The only no-filter sports show in Kentucky. It's the Alan Cutler Show with award-winning TV sportscaster Alan Cutler.
I won't hang up until you tell me you love me.
All right, I love you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it from Alan Cutler. He said he loves Sean Woods. I feel the same. I've always thought you were absolutely the best and always enjoyed being around you. And
everything you said was absolutely 100% correct.
Man, is this the great Alan Cutler? Is this the infamous Alan Cutler?
Of all the broadcast television people that I've encountered, you are among the absolute elite.
Cut to the chase has a 5-length lead past the 16th pole. Cut to the chase. Victor Espinoza to win it.
Continue doing what you're doing. You're really good at it.
Be nice, America. Let's have a great day.
Win number 9, that's the future. That's the only goal I have.
They look like kittens more than wildcats, in my opinion.
Hello, Mark. Mr. Pope, 1996.
Oh, my gosh.
What?
Hey, let's give it up right here. This is my guy. Yes. I'm so happy to see you.
Hey, gratitude is a skill, guys. But if you practice, it will give you a joyful life regardless of your circumstances.
We're coming here to compete for championships, right? And that was the I know what this program can do. I've seen this program. I've been in this league, and I know what Coach Stein can do. And the combination of the two, I couldn't be more fired up. A lot of friends that I have in the business who have worked here at Kentucky and lived in Lexington rant and raved about this place. I've gotten so many texts from people who have worked here in the past about just how much I'm going to love Lexington, how much I'm going to love working at the University of Kentucky.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
That last comment was from Sloan. We played a bunch of his comments, the new offensive coordinator. I'm really mad at my guest. I feel like hanging up on him. I could see his facials. We've been friends for too long. He's listened to all those people saying wonderful comments. And his first thing is, I know he's going, is this AI driven or did Cutler pay those people? Then he goes, Cutler's too cheap to pay those people. So, why don't you say that you love me too, just like Sean Woods makes me say it, seriously. He is badgering me like crazy. There are people that really like me. I know that hurts your feelings.
Wow, to start the show with all that. I mean, don't hurt your shoulder. You're patting yourself on the back. Dear Lord.
Well, the show is expanding, and there are people who are listening who don't know me from television. So, believe it or not, because I'm old enough.
Has it been that long?
Shut up. Sorry, folks. This is how Kendrick Haskins. I'll introduce him properly maybe in a minute. This is how we talk to each other all the time. No, there are people listening now who don't know me from television. And not to realize that, not to be cognizant of that would be egotistical. And I'm not egotistical in that way. So there you have it. Now, what do you say to that, Kendrick Haskins? Outstanding. Why am I saying that? Because it's true. I have to be no filter even with you. Outstanding sports director, award-winning sports director at Wave TV in Louisville. Now you're smiling because I'm saying nice things about you, but they happen to be true. Hello, Kendrick. Why did I invite you on my show again?
You're a glutton for punishment, I think.
I think my wife has told me that.
and you just love my company. I know it.
Yeah, sometimes.
A lot of people say that.
Sometimes. I know. You too.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember if we've talked since Stein was hired. And I should have looking back the list. I think it's been a couple of weeks since we talked. You know him personally, yes? Or I'm assuming that.
A little bit. I mean, it's one of those things where if he saw my face, he know who I was.
Okay.
But I covered him when he was at Trinity, when he was in high school. So, I mean, you can relate to that. It's just like when you literally watch somebody grow from high school into the professional world, it's just like, wow. And then you start thinking about, you're old. And that's how I feel. I'm like, wow, I remember this kid when he was like a sophomore, junior in high school, and now he's the head coach at Kentucky. It's crazy.
I don't think the high school stuff is talked about enough. And great, it's Trinity, which has all the resources in the world. One of the great high school programs in America, not just in Kentucky, but in America. And they have gotten and helped kids get free educations all over the place. Not to respect them would be dumb. Matter of fact, anybody doesn't respect them, I would say just go away. You got some angst with them or something like that.
Right.
But I don't believe, now you tell me, that people still have a grasp, and granted, he had all this talent around him, that's fine, but you still have to do it. Don't have a grasp about how great he was as a high school quarterback. Tell me if I'm stretching it or tell me if that's what you believe.
No, he was a really good quarterback. The only thing that held him back was his size.
Right.
Because Will's not even 6 feet tall, I don't think.
He's not 5'11". He's not 5'10".
Right.
Don't you think he's about 5'9"?
Yeah, he's probably about 5'9". And
5'8"?
So that's what I'll give him 5'9". I'll give him 5'9".
That's because you like him.
Yes. But he was a very good quarterback. I mean, a lot of people forget me. He was the precursor to Teddy Bridgewater. And so he was a good quarterback. He was a walk-on that was starting at Louisville. I mean, granted, Louisville was, they were still in the Big East at the time and all of that stuff, but still to be a 5'9" walk-on to starting at a major college football team that's an accomplishment. And that shows you that actually it shows you how competitive he was, how much he believed in himself, and the heart that he has. And he's going to fight. And he's one of those people that, you don't want to fight a guy like that. And so that guy is going to be successful. Like, and I was talking on Tom Lee's show earlier this week. It was like, I feel like he knew that his time was coming this year, whether it be Kentucky or somewhere else. But he was going to be a head coach, and I think he's going to be a super successful head coach.
I think he was quietly putting a staff together, whether it was for here or anybody.
Yeah, that's why it came together so fast.
Yeah. In other words, and I'm assuming if he's the kind of guy that I think he is, he probably talked to multiple people in these positions because he didn't get everybody who he wants. I'm sure that nobody gets everybody who you want.
Right.
And no, as a matter of fact, if he wasn't talking to people, he's not the organizer that I think he is. And if he wasn't talking to people ahead of time, I wouldn't be as excited about the potential of the program. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah.
My point is he's super organized.
Yeah.
And this is done all the time. Guys will say, hey, if I get this kind of job, and a friend will say, well, let's see what happens. I'm not saying people made this commitment or that kind of thing, but you lay out a plan with a bunch of people. Do I think every one of the coaches who are now on the staff was called ahead of time? Probably not. But do I think he had some feelers ahead of time? Absolutely. I mean, let's put it this way. Stoops, when he accepted the A&M job, was that night was putting his staff together, and some of the guys at Kentucky told him no. It's just it's a normal thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if somebody who's worth their salt that knows that I've been doing a really good job, like he knows he's been doing a really good job at Oregon, your time is coming within the next couple of years, and so I'm sure he had planned out everything. And like you said, he's very organized person, so he's planned out a lot of what's probably already has happened.
Kendrick Hassan's kind enough to join us. This is, I believe it's the quote we played the longer soundbite earlier from Sloan. We believe we are the best developers in college football. That's a wild comment. He's cockier than I am. And by the way, I have no problem with that. If he is correct, if Sloan is correct when he says we, he's talking to me and Will. If he's correct, I believe this can become quarterback U. And I've said this going back to when you had hair, that the only way this program could consistently win 9 or 10 games if they had great quarterbacks. For example, if Couch was on the team this year and last year in his prime, Stoops would still be the coach. I mean, everybody knows the quarterback is the most important position. And you look at it, I won't be surprised if we find out down the road, if he brings somebody in, and I think he's trying to. I think he's trying to bring in somebody in over Cutler. That doesn't mean he will. If he brings somebody in, it wouldn't surprise me. If it's a big name and that their people might have called Stein because he is a quarterback coach and Sloan is a quarterback coach. And they, right now, are the two hottest guys. Can you think of somebody hotter developing quarterbacks? And so if I'm a guy transferring from, I don't know who the hell they would want or don't want. I don't have that information, but whether it's Nebraska or Florida or whatever, there's a lot of good quarterbacks out there.
Yeah.
And if you had to take less money, still healthy money, to come to Kentucky, but you thought that would help your future, let's say you take $1 million less. Easy for me to say, but if you think you're going to get drafted higher, you're going to make so much more in the NFL. It's not even funny. So are you more concerned about your future or the amount of money you're going to make? Not that Kentucky won't pay, but if Miami paid $4 million for Beck, there'll be a school out there that might pay $4 million for one of these kids. I don't know this, but I don't think Kentucky's going to pay $4 million for anybody. That's my guess. My point is they could bring somebody in and it might not be the highest amount for that particular person because they're concerned about their future more than their pocketbook. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. And it really makes all the sense in the world. And it also is like the problem with it is there's going to be so many people in these kids' ears. Oh, you can make more money and still go to that's what they're going to be fighting against. And you're right. If I'm a quarterback and my goal is to get to the NFL, and if I'm getting a little bit less money to go to Kentucky, but I know that this guy can get me there and he's got a proven track record, then I would seriously consider it. Because like I said, that $1 million, you'll make that twofold if you do what you're supposed to under him and listen to his guidance, and you'll get there, and that $1 million won't be, you won't even worry about that anymore. So yeah, it's going to be exciting to see, because You got two former Trinity quarterbacks coaching the two major programs in the state, and they're both quarterback gurus. So I would think in the coming years that the offensive firepower between the two, we're going to see some really high scoring games when they play each other.
And I can see it elevating the national attention on both programs. And that, let's say, Kentucky beats Louisville 52-48 next year. I'm just throwing a bogus number out there. It's going to get a ton of attention. And then the following year, it gets even more attention. Not the first year, but the following year, if you have something like that, say, oh, wait a second, this might be turning into one of the best games in the country that nobody's talking about. It's not, Notre Dame and so or Penn State and so. They did play football at Penn State for years, didn't they? Yeah. That I can see both these guys together in the state elevating the program because it's more offensive. I think that's a good point on your part.
Oh yeah, you'll see the rise, like the low key rise of volleyball. We had two programs that started taking it seriously, and now two of the best. And you can even throw Western Kentucky in there. Three of the best programs in the country are right here in the state of Kentucky.
Isn't it amazing? Since high school volleyball is not big here,
it's kind of big here in Louisville.
It's bigger in Louisville than it is in Lexington.
Yeah, you can tell that by the state championships, but. With Assumption, they win state almost every year, and they're putting out D1 kids every year, and so it has really grown. And like I said, there is national volleyball tournaments in Louisville like 2 or 3 times a year. It's like every year. It's a bunch of them. And so that Kiva Volleyball Academy has really grown here, and so a lot of kids that are playing for both UK and U of L come from that Kiva and all those tournaments that come to town every year.
I just had Nick Roush on there, who's very good, as you know, with football and KSR. And he said he thinks it's a 70% chance as Cutler is the guy. I'm saying at best it's 50-50. What say you, Kendrick Haskins? Because right now he isn't the guy. He hasn't been told he's the guy. And Stein has to, as you're thinking, Stein has to do what's best for him. And Cutler's got to do what's best for him. And I know Cutler would love to be the guy here. There's no question about it. But and answer the second part with your answer, and I'm going to actually dangerously shut my mic off to let you answer. Even
what?
Nasty towards me. No, I've been doing that recently because I talk too much over the guests, and I'm trying to give my guests more leeway because the reason why you're on is because you're really good. Go to that one first. What do you think the odds are Cutler is the guy?
I'd say slightly over 50. I'll go 60 because you do like to have somebody who's been in the program. It's kind of hard to let a kid go that grew up wanting to play for the team, play for the program. He's a Kentucky kid. They've been all over the state because I covered his sister when she was at E-Town, and then he played in Lexington, and I think they grew up. They were actually from somewhere else in Kentucky. So they've been all over the place, but it's kind of hard to let him. And he's shown so much promise. So I would give it slightly more than 50. I'll go halfway between the two of you. I'll go 57%.
You're driving me nuts. I'm going to write this down. 57, 70, 50. It's not exactly. You're 13 away and 7 away. 60 would have been halfway in between. I hope you have a good accountant doing your taxes, dude. That was unbelievable.
Actually, what it was, I couldn't remember if Rouse said 65 or if he said.
That's your story, and you're sticking to it. Let me correct my opinion on one little thing you said. They ain't getting rid of Cutler. If they bring somebody in, they would love for Cutler to stay. Mm-hmm. But he, as much as he loves Kentucky, I think he would be foolish to stay if he's the backup. The kid's got to get snaps. And on top of it, they're not going to pay 2 guys first team quarterback money. They're just not. I mean, that's not Kentucky being cheap. That's just using your head financially speaking. Because they got 5 others on the offensive line.
Yeah, they've got other positions to have to pay too. So
yeah. Absolutely.
So much money.
So what's the rumor about who's going to be quarterback for Louisville next year, or other rumors?
It's all over the place. Supposedly they're in on the Nebraska kid. They have they have a freshman coming in he's a 4-star, but no one really believes he's going to be the starter next year because Brian doesn't usually start freshmen at quarterback. And so the biggest rumor right now is the Nebraska kid.
I say this with respect. Brom's a hell of a coach. He's done a great job at Louisville. I mean it sincerely. I have always been amazed because he's such a quarterback coach and his brother is such a quarterback coach and their tandem is really good. I am surprised, although the kid from 2 years ago is now starting with the New Orleans Saints and he improved tremendously at the age of 45 at Louisville. Tyler's done a very good job and surprised people and his touch is really good. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten over the time period, even at Purdue, although he did a nice job. He's always gotten like B-level quarterbacks. And I think Jeff Brom is good enough, and I don't know if it's money or whatever, that I would have thought, I'm not saying he should always get the elite quarterback because there's a lot of good coaches, but Jeff is that good. I mean, I respect him tremendously. He hasn't gotten an upper level guy. Am I wrong, or is that a thought in your cranium as well?
I think, well, I mean, they knocked it out of the park with Tyler Shuck. They just did. But I think they thought that's what they were getting out of Miller Moss.
Okay. And by the way, and that's fair.
And going back, he was regarded as one of the top transfer portal quarterbacks coming in. It just, for whatever reason, didn't totally work. I mean, he wasn't as awful as fans would lead you to believe, but he wasn't Tyler Shuck. And the crazy thing with Miller Moss, which was always weird to me, is like he can run. Like when he would actually tuck the ball and run, he had decent speed and he can make some moves in there. He just didn't. And Brom really does want a dual threat quarterback. And he just didn't get that out of Miller Moss this year for whatever reason. I mean, that Kentucky game was probably the best Miller Moss has played all season. And so, and like Miller Moss is in a position now that where he has to play in the bowl game because he needs more tape out there. So he's playing in the bowl game as of 122, 112, 18. So it just, I think they thought they were getting that in Miller Moss and it just didn't work out for whatever reason.
I find it interesting as we're flipping on here that when you see Pitino and Pope go at it, both head coaches have bad 3-point shooters. Now maybe it'll change, but right now they both bad 3-point shooters. I'm shocked Pitino doesn't have better shooters. I mean, really shocked. Pitino's defense is getting better. Pope's defense is getting better. Pope said today, and I found this interesting, and I disagreed with one part, not that I would ever disagree with Mark Pope, but he said we're going to play right now smash mouth basketball. It's fun. It's ugly and gruesome. It's not forever. And it's kind of like Big East ball. Here's the part that bothers me. Mark, listen to Alan Cutler. Play smash mouth basketball all the time, but with a better offense. And I think Kentucky's defense is getting better. I think, and I've watched St. John's some, not as much as I've watched Kentucky, duh. I think Pitino's defense is getting better, and this is going to be a lot of fouls and hard defense. And I'm going to guess nobody scores 75 points, and it's kind of like mirror of each other. I mean, that's kind of what I see. What do you see?
When I look at St. John's, I see a lot of Rick's teams towards the end where the shooting wasn't great. And so they look a lot like those teams at the end at U of L. And so, and I you know what? I kind of agree with the Pope's approach. When you don't have consistent shooters, you have the bodies to be a bruiser with Moreno and Diabate coming back with Garrison, and then the eventual play of Quaintance. You've got the bodies to play bully ball, and when your guards are kind of and the shooting is hit or miss, you can be a defense travels. I mean, everything can affect shooting. Only thing that affects defense is effort. And so the defense travels, and I like the idea of going to being a bruising team, defense first team that, relies more on its defense to win games than the offense. Because right now the offense just isn't clicking.
It's interesting because I thought, I'm glad you brought it up, the end of Pitino, that I was surprised overall in his Louisville years. He didn't have as much great shooting as I expected.
He really didn't. No, you look back at it, they really didn't.
He needed more Feldhouses and Pelfreys and Farmers and Sean Woods, you think?
Yeah, because looking back at it, Ryan McMahon was probably the best shooter he had. And then so, because Russ and Peyton were good enough shooters, but they wasn't like, oh no, they're going to get hot from three a lot. They were more guys that if you left them open, they can make it, but they were more get to the basket type of guys. Terrence Williams, who I still say was the best player that played for Pitino at U of L. God, I mean, we used to, with the running joke amongst the media for every game with T. Will was if he hits that first three he attempts, look out because he's going to keep firing it, and he couldn't shoot. And so the shooting was built more like Pope's talking about, playing defensive, aggressive, physical teams, and you have shooters that can make the open shot, but you're not dependent upon the 3-point shot.
You expect, this is so silly, I'm even bringing it up, that Pitino will wear a white suit for the game, and Pope can't wear white, but he's going to be dressed appropriately.
I don't think Pitino will break out the white suit against Kentucky, because that was the thing that started here at Louisville. Now, if they ever play here, I can guarantee you he's coming out in a white suit. Really? I'll guarantee it. Because Kelsey's already laying down the foundation for that to happen. So I do think eventually it will happen. And I guarantee you, if Rick comes back to the Yum Center, I guarantee he'll wear that white suit.
You sound like Barkley. I guarantee.
I guarantee.
So if Rick Pitino shows up next year at Louisville, won't he get a standing ovation like crazy? Or am I nuts?
Oh, yeah. There's never a point in time when he wouldn't have gotten a standing ovation here, because people were so upset when they let him go. So, yeah. That was the ghost of Rick Pitino is what every coach has fought since Kelsey came and had his own success. But yeah, oh God, yeah, because Chris Mack had to deal with the ghost of Rick Pitino the whole time, even though Chris Mack was relatively successful at U of L.
You know, I think, you tell me, since it's further away, I think Kelsey is dealing with less than Mack. And I have a sneaky feeling that, just now, I'm from afar, I'm in Lexington, but I've watched a lot of press conferences. I think Kelsey handles it better than Mack does. Am I wrong?
Yeah, he's a little bit more even keeled in the press conferences than Chris Mack wore it. What more of it is, Chris Mack wore his emotions on his face. Now, you didn't, because it's the same with Kelsey. You didn't really worry about if you ask Chris Mack or Pat Kelsey the wrong question, they're going to blow up on you. That's just not how they are. You with Rick, we always saw that. I think it's more of a body
Rick
language
never
thing.
blowed up at any one of my questions.
So far, you really don't feel like Kelsey is very respectful of your question, because I've seen him answer some bad ones. But and Chris Mack was the same way. Chris Mack he looked like the weight of the world was on his shoulders, but he never really just snapped at people that much.
You think the media asked, last one, I don't know where this is coming from, but I'm throwing it out anyway. Things that pop in my head. Do you think the media today asks softer questions than when you started, where there were more, and I mean this is no disrespect to anybody, by the way, and I don't, but I think it's a trend. Back when you started, there were a lot more older people in the business. And it's tough to be old. You're like a dinosaur. You're 50-something, and there aren't a lot of 50-somethings.
Just right at 50. Don't add the something. I'm just right at 50.
I didn't realize you were so sensitive. But seriously, we're kidding around. But you know this. This is what you do for a living. There aren't a lot of 50-year-olds left in TV, and there aren't a lot of 55-year-olds left in TV.
Barely 40-year-olds.
Yeah, and I think the questions are softer generally. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's good to coaches than back in the 1980s, that kind of thing when I got here. Do you have a thought about that?
It's true. And a lot of it is because that era of reporter, they just were tougher. And now there's kind of I don't want to ruffle feathers because I don't want to lose my access going on. And this is a legitimate concern. You know how it is these days.
Wait a second. How can they limit access?
Can they do?
What can they do to limit access?
Take your credential. I've seen it. It hasn't happened here, but I've seen it other places. And so
was I naive not to worry about that? I was going to ask what I asked.
You wasn't going to worry. You didn't have to worry about it because back then the schools were more reliant on the reporter to get their message out, because there wasn't as many outlets. There wasn't a Twitter, there wasn't all of that stuff.
Good point.
And so the schools now all but don't need us anymore. It's me, if we're being honest, because U of L kind of makes that obvious with us because we don't even get a pregame press conference before every game.
Which I can't believe. I can't believe he doesn't do it. I can't, but and not disrespecting whoever the SID is now, I don't even know him. But if Kenny Klein, who was one of the great sports information directors, was still there, Kelsey would listen to him and do a pregame day before press conference. I believe it. I know you do too. We've talked about it.
Yeah. And no disrespect to their SID now. She does a great job at what she does, but that part is kind of a hang up. But they'd rather put out their own message. And you see that it's not just Louisville. I mean, it's in schools all across the country. And if another coach gets in there in Kentucky, it may change. Pope gets it because he came up in a time in Lexington where I kind of feel like Pope is more like what we are used to.
He's cutting down.
He is. I'll give you that. He's cutting it. When that first year, it was more like
he's doing less than like he did one today, and he'll do one during the week. No, he's cut back, and you have less access.
Well, Pope does every Thursday. He's following Cal though, because Cal at the end was doing that. Cal will have one press conference where he talked, and the other one was with the players, and that's what Pope has been doing.
And also, Cal, if there was a second one where the coach would be an assistant coach, but you had more access. Okay. You just had more access. No, they're getting tighter and tighter.
Yeah, we hardly get any access anymore.
More media. We are a conduit to the fans.
Yeah,
let's say that.
They view it as like, you know what, we can be our own conduit to our fans and get our own message out there. That's how they feel.
I'm 3 minutes late. Who wins St. John's and Pope? And then I got to go, and I got 2 words. Thank you.
And you're always welcome. I always will come back whenever you need me. I'm leaning towards Kentucky because I felt like that win over Indiana was a turning point for them. Getting Diabate back, the way Diabate played, the way Lowe played, especially in that second half, I kind of feel like they may have turned the corner.
I think Mo Diabate is the most important player on the team, but that's me. You tell everybody how to follow you on Twitter, social media, the whole world, and watch on TV if people are driving in the Louisville area.
Watch me on Wave News at 6 and 11 and whenever else they throw me out there. My Twitter page got hacked. So right now my Twitter page is down. You might get some crypto message from my Twitter page right now. It got hacked. And so I'm not on Twitter right now, but I'm on Facebook, Threads, and IG, Instagram.
Bless you, brother. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Oh, hey, if I don't talk to you, Merry Christmas to you and yours.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's and all that stuff.
Back at you. Thank you. Appreciate your friendship, even though you're mean to me.
It's just because you didn't say anything mean to me today.
Get off my phone. Thanks. I can't look at Jimmy smiling. What is it? I'm not getting the last, and he can hang up. I get the last word, but I got nothing. He got me again. You and Sean Woods, you 2 of you in the same room, I would be destroyed. Get out of here. Thank you, Kendrick. You're great.
Sean and I laugh a lot when we're in the same room.
Oh, yep. See you, man. Bless you. Shut up, Jimmy.
The button just always sticks whenever it's him and Sean. It doesn't work.
You can't do it. Blue Lotus Health. Brandon, I'm a little late. I apologize. Blue Lotus Health, 859-533-0914. 859-533-0914. Acupuncture, now also providing a licensed massage therapist. Acupuncture. Blue Lotus Health, Ramon Carriega. Besides providing a licensed massage therapist, he is great. He is great at acupuncture, all the things he can do. Use my name, on Versailles Road, Blue Lotus Health. It is worth it, I believe, tremendously. And some of you folks who have a couple bucks, and I don't mean a ton of money, but a couple of bucks, and you're getting up in the years, this is a thing. Personally, this is me personally, I think it can help you tremendously, but you got to stick with it. It's not the kind of thing, I went one time and I'm a totally different person. It doesn't work like that. Blue Lotus Health, Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties.
Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
My name is Terry Schultz, CEO for the Rutherford County Area Habitat for Humanity. Republic Bank has really been a game changer. They have invested not only financially, but time to really listen so that we can move our mission forward. What I like about Republic Bank is they've come in asking, what are your needs? And I don't know that you get that any other place.
That's Terry's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. This holiday season, give the gift of adventure with Quattrell Subaru. Right now, the 2025 Subaru Share the Love event. Subaru will donate $250 to one of 5 amazing nonprofits, including the Hope Center. And Quattrell Subaru is stepping up in a big way, more than doubling that, donating a total of $550 for every new Subaru purchased or leased now through January 2nd. Be part of the community and help make a difference through the 2025 Share the Love event at Quattrell Subaru. Learn more at QuattrellSubaru.com.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. Brandon Ramsey does a great job with basketball for KSR and basketball for himself with all his different media things. And I'm going to ask him a very serious question. I bet you looked up who Smokey Burgess was, yes?
I sure did, absolutely.
So Smokey Burgess played from the late 1940s to mid 1960s and was a big man. And as his career moved on, he became bigger and bigger and bigger, but he was a great hitter. And he ended his career as the greatest pinch hitter in the history of baseball. So I called you Smokey Burgess. First of all, Brandon, kind enough to do our show all the time. And Stephen Peak was going to do the show, and he apologized he couldn't do it. He's got to do some stuff for KSR. It's his job. You know, great. You don't need to apologize. Thanks for letting me know as soon as you can. Stuff happens. It's just, you know, it's a fluid situation. People give me their time, which I appreciate. So he said, I already talked to Brandon, and he'll do it. So that's when I said, Brandon, you're Smokey Burgess.
There we go. I mean, after I looked him up, I was like, hey, this is a heck of a compliment. I'll take it. So, yeah, Smokey Burgess. I learned something.
Well, now how about this? We're not going to make it to Smokey Burgess 25 minutes, but, you know, the year before he retired, he got 22 base hits and 77 at-bats and was in 80 games. And I used to look at box scores all the time. I think it was he caught a couple times when they were desperate because he was old by then. His last year, he just didn't hit. He had 8 hits and 60 at-bats, and when you're that old and you have one of those years, it's time to hack it up. But the 2 years before that, he had 21 hits and 22 hits and 67 at-bats and 77 at-bats, and as a pinch hitter, that is damn good. So you, my friend, are a Hall of Fame pinch hitter. Not that you're a pinch hitter, but I was trying to get you with that.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate it. I like it. Good stuff.
Okay, we'll go on to Patino and Pope. I find it fascinating that, once again, Patino doesn't have shooters. Pope doesn't have shooters. Kentucky, maybe we're seeing a metamorphosis right in front of our eyes. They were kind of a grinded out team the other day, which I really liked. They kind of mirror each other. Patino's defense has gotten better. Kentucky's defense has gotten better. I'm going to throw one more line, and then I want you to go. So Pope said today, we're playing smash mouth basketball, which I love, by the way. He says it's fun. He says it's ugly and gruesome, not forever. That ticked me off. I want to see Kentucky play smash mouth basketball all the time on defense. All the time on defense, and then have an offense. So he said, this is not forever, but it's for now. And basically, you're seeing a team from the SEC and a team from the Big East. I think we're going to see Big East basketball on Saturday. What say you? Who wins and why? And you disagree with anything I said?
Well, I think it's definitely 2 smash mouth teams right now, and we're going to get to see who's better at that style of play. I don't think that any of us necessarily came into this season, or certainly I don't think that any of us expected a Coach Pope team when we first hired him at Kentucky to maybe use that adjective, because we associate his teams more with free-flowing, high-octane, three-point shooting offenses. one thing leads to another. That's not the team that Kentucky has this season. And I think that we saw, especially in that second half at Rupp Arena against the Indiana Hoosiers on Saturday, that this team can play a little bit more of that athletic, physical style of play that St. John's certainly utilizes under Coach Pitino. And I think that you will end up seeing two teams that maybe I think Coach Pope or Coach Pitino leans into that style of play, and admittedly, I don't think it's as comfortable to Coach Pope. But one thing led to another, and we have two teams playing pretty similar styles here on Saturday in Atlanta. So I do think it'll be a very interesting matchup. One team is probably more used to playing this style. One team that's a little bit newer to it. But especially if you can, maybe add some Jaden Quantitt's minutes in there on Saturday. Certainly more Mo Diabate as he gets more comfortable. More Jalen Lowe as he gets more comfortable. We're going to finally get to start seeing this team at full strength, which I think is exciting for Big Blue Nation because quite frankly, I think that is our first opportunity to really, truly, and fairly critique and evaluate this team. We've all had a million takes over the course of this season. Some of them certainly still were fair in the time, but when you're missing several starters, I think that you really had to, withhold some thoughts until we get this team at full strength, and we're getting really darn close to having that, which for me is exciting to really finally get to evaluate this team and what they can be.
Yeah, every game is different. If they start playing great, you say they play great. There were games where the effort sucked, and I still stand by this, even though guys are out. That doesn't mean you can't have effort. And I'm not. Right. I am never going to back down from that. Now, with the lack of effort, their weaknesses got exposed even more. That maybe they could have won another game if they had more effort, even with the weaknesses there. I'm fascinated. I have no idea if JQ is going to play, but he can't start. He might not start for a long time. And if he could play 10 minutes well up and down the court, I would think the second time down the court, I don't care all the stuff he's done in the pool. I don't care all the half-court stuff he's done. I don't care that Pope said he saw him for the first time 2 days ago cross midcourt, which was a good way of putting it. You're going to have an adrenaline rush, and he's going to be out of breath so fast. Your head will spin. It'll be easy the second game. But, if he plays against St. John's and doesn't have a setback, I think it's very fair to give this kid a month. I mean a month to both mentally, and I mean mentally first, and physically to get back in shape. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter how long you rehab. It doesn't matter how much 5-on-5 full go stuff you do in practice. It is very, very different when you play a game, and then you can even turn that up even more when you're playing against Zuby Ejiofor and St. John's in a very high intensity game. You said it exactly right. I think 1, 2, 3 trips up and down the floor, and all of a sudden when he is playing harder than he's probably ever played before, because that's just the difference between a game and in practice, I think that he's gonna probably be gasping for some breath pretty quickly. But I do think this would be a great opportunity to get him, even if it's just one rotation in each half, get him in there quick and get him out in the first half, get him in there and get him out quick in the second half, get 2 to 4 minute spurts, get his legs underneath him a little bit, allow him to gain some confidence that, hey, like, I am in shape, I can do this, and then continue to make steps forward. This would be a great game to have him, just in terms of the test that Kentucky's going to have in terms of defensive rebounding in this game. I said it earlier today on Twitter, St. John's is going to be the second best offensive rebounding team per Ken Palm that Kentucky's played this season. They've played some really darn good ones, and quite frankly, Kentucky struggled with some of those really darn good offensive rebounding teams. St. John's is going to be one of the best that they faced, so having a little bit of extra size in there, even just for short spurts, to help defensive rebound against the St. John's team could be huge.
It's interesting you say that, and he calls him Zuby, and I've watched him for a couple of years. He's going to make a lot of money somewhere for a long time. He's a tough, big, old school, big man who can shoot and can put the ball in the hole. He's like an old school power forward, and I think there's a spot for him playing, and he's tough. He's strong. He's tough. I'm a little concerned. I think Marino's played great for a freshman, but he's not nearly as old, and he hasn't been lifting weights nearly as many years as Zuby does. And you have to be a little concerned that Marino could be taken to school tomorrow with Zuby, who's really strong. And not saying Marino's weak, but he can be a lot stronger next year. I'm assuming you agree 100% with that.
Yeah, I mean, Zuby's a 250-pound, 22, 23-year-old senior. Then you add in what Bryce Hopkins can do as an offensive rebounder, what Dylan Mitchell brings to St. John's as an offensive rebounder, who's a super athletic guy. Then you have the physicality of Hopkins, the physicality of Ejiofor. Those guys are excellent offensive rebounds. It's a big reason why the St. John's team is so good on the offensive glass, because they're not necessarily the most efficient offensive team on that first shot. They're pretty darn good in transition, but otherwise they don't shoot a super high percentage from three. They don't take a ton of threes. They're more smash mouth. As we said, that's going to be the word of the day probably on Saturday. They're going to drive it to the basket. They're going to use their athleticism, and then they're going to go rebound the heck out of it when they miss. We saw Kentucky do that with Mo Diabate coming back on Saturday against Indiana, but it'll be a different level of test against St. John's because, quite frankly, they're more athletic and they're more physical, really at a position-by-position basis than the Hoosiers were this past weekend.
Did you expect Mark Pope to call Cam Williams the best defensive player in the team?
I wouldn't have necessarily gone that far, but I just said it, I think it was literally yesterday on KS Board. I said that the more that I watched the film, and especially from the IU game, like if I was just handing out grades to the Kentucky players, Cam Williams would have been very near, if not at the top of the class in terms of a defender. Like he grades out really, really well. Just with his length, the way that he moves his feet, he gets people to miss shots because he just contests them so well because he's there and he plays with that length. He's 6'8", and quite frankly, he's a guy that, at least in my opinion, even as some other people had some effort issues throughout the season, I've never felt like Cam Williams wasn't playing hard, especially on the defensive end of the floor. So I really commend him for, I mean, he's a shooter. He is a three-point shooter. That's what he was recruited to Kentucky to do, and that's not going well for him. So for him to step up and still earn and demand getting minutes because of what he's bringing outside of making shots, I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. And then and then I think Kentucky, Coach Pope, everybody involved will reap the dividends of that once the shots do start going in, because he's too good of a shooter to shoot 7 of 33 for much longer. He's going to progress to the mean here soon when that comes, and then that's going to make him a pretty special player with the growth that he's had here as a sophomore at Kentucky on the defensive end of the floor. So yes, I like I said, I don't know if I would have gone so far to say he's the best, but man, he's in that conversation without a doubt.
But it wouldn't be the first time that Pope is exaggerating to build somebody up to help the kids come.
Yeah, coaches do that
all the time, only when they open their mouth, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Most anyway. The shot he blocked the other day was absolutely spectacular. It was amazing. You could see how long his arms are. Knew he was a great jumper, but he did something else that I always watch for. He was also off his feet quick. Mm-hmm. And that was a shot. I went back and looked at it 3-4 times, and I'm going, wasn't as good as Anthony Davis's block in the corner. I happened to be seeing right under the basket in the North Carolina games. One of the greatest blocks I've ever seen, because he came flying out of nowhere. I mean, that was like Anthony Davis flying through the air with the greatest of ease. This was not on that level, but this was blank good. I mean, are there 10 guys in college basketball? You would know this more than me. Are there 10 guys in college basketball today that could have blocked that shot like he did?
There's not many. I mean, honestly, that level of explosiveness off the floor, it made me think of Cohen Carr from Michigan, or Michigan State, excuse me, that Kentucky played earlier this year. I mean, Cohen Carr is probably the best athlete playing college basketball right now. He makes plays like that defensively, where he sort of, you almost feel like he's not in position to even contest the shot, and then all of a sudden he just jumps so high that he's able to block it. That was a kind of a breathtaking defensive play by Cam Williams. But to me, it's also, everything else that he does defensively. Like I said, getting guys to miss, the way he rotates defensively is really impressive.
Who looks slicker in their suits tomorrow? What a dumb question to throw at you, Mr. Basketball Guy. Pope or Pitino? I'm guessing it's Pitino. What say you?
It has to be Pitino, because I feel like that, it's who he is. He is the nice tailored suit guy. Not that Coach Pope doesn't have some nice suit game at Rupp Arena quite a bit when he goes to MSG, and he's going to bring out the best that he can for this game. But I think that you're going to be able to tell that Coach Pope's really trying, I think, when he wears his suit on Saturday, whereas it's kind of effortless with Coach Pitino. He pulls off the expensive Italian suits pretty well, I think.
It's amazing how many he gets shipped in through the years from Italy.
Oh, I can only imagine what his suit budget is. It has to be pretty astronomical.
This is a low number. To say he has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on suits through the years would be a low number.
Yes.
Low number. Just like nothing.
Yeah.
It's interesting. All right, last comment about Kentucky from what you see. Good, bad, ugly, indifferent, whatever. And Smokey Burgess, I appreciate you.
Yeah, anytime. I'm glad it worked out. But no, I'm excited for another quad one opportunity. I think that Kentucky took some steps in the right direction against Indiana. Should we be sitting here having to commend how hard they play, how tough they played? No, that should become the benchmark going forward. But still, it was good to see a first positive step in the right direction, beat a quality opponent in Indiana. Now you're going to play, a little bit of a step up, in my opinion, against St. John's, and that's going to set you up with Bellarmine in between going into the SEC schedule. So I'm really excited to see Kentucky take one more step positively in the right direction as we get ready for SEC play. And I think that we'll be able to carry some momentum into what will be, once again, a very fun conference slate. And I think that, with a win on Saturday, you'll put some of the bad taste of the non-conference schedule behind you just a little bit, at least moving into SEC play.
Got less than 30 seconds before the NC Central game, which wasn't a game, but this is what I said before the NC Central game. And I didn't know if it could happen. There was no prediction on my part. I did say, though, you beat NC Central, given. You beat Indiana. You beat St. John's, with so many teams in the top 25 with a lot of losses. I think if Kentucky wins on Saturday, I said it before the NC Central game, you win this 3 in a row, they're back in the top 25. You agree or no?
Absolutely. They'll be in the top 25 Monday with a win on Saturday.
Bingo. Give yourself a great plug again.
Yep. You can follow me on Twitter at BRamseyKSR. All the written work goes on KentuckySportsRadio.com. Also have the KSR YouTube channel and the Brandon Ramsey College Basketball Show YouTube channel to subscribe to. And again, that's on Twitter at BRamseyKSR.
The great pinch hitter, Brandon Ramsey. If I don't talk to you, Merry Christmas to you and yours. I hope you know how much I appreciate your time and just the fun basketball conversations. This is fun, and it just happens to be on radio. So bless you and thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Merry Christmas. Have a good one, Alan.
Thank you, man. Brandon Ramsey, he's always good. Another great show, not because of the guest. The guest. Nick Roush, he went at me. Kendrick went at me. Brandon didn't go at me. He just lays it out really, really well. Aaron Gershon from the good old days, Jonathan Davis, and Adam Zagoria, who's close with Rick Pitino, will be joining us tomorrow. Jimmy, as always, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for listening. Brad Taylor coming up next. Don't forget, live on the ESPN Sports Lexington app for live and podcast, or locally on 1300 AM and 92.5 FM. Thank you. Appreciate you all. Have a great day. Count your blessings. And if I don't hear from you in the next couple of days, or you're not listening because of the holidays, everybody have a safe holiday and with gratitude, and count your blessings. I try to every day.